No one ever tells you this. Sometimes the most dangerous choices aren't the ones you make loudly, they're the ones you make by staying silent. This is the story of a secret that survived. Not because it was powerful, but because I never stopped it. There are secrets that scream inside your head every night, and then there are secrets so quiet, they become part of your breathing. This is one of those. I'm 41 years old now. I have a life people recognize as stable. A marriage. A history. A past that looks complete from the outside. But there's something I've carried for more than half my life. Not because it was dramatic. Not because it was explosive. I carried it because it was silent. I never planned to tell anyone this. Not because I thought it was right, but because I never knew what to call it. It wasn't love. It wasn't an affair. It wasn't even a choice I made loudly. It was something that happened, because I didn't stop it. I was 19 when it began. 19 is old enough to know better. People say, young enough to still be confused. I say now. My husband back then, just my boyfriend was there that night. We were all together. Young, careless, packed into a car. Laughing over nothing important. I remember the music. I remember the smell of cheap cologne and fast food. I remember feeling safe because I wasn't alone. And then something happened that shouldn't have. Not loud, not sudden, just a hand resting where it shouldn't have rested for too long. I froze. That's the part people don't talk about. Not fight, not flight, freeze. I didn't push it away. I didn't speak up. I didn't laugh it off or make a joke. I stayed quiet, and in that quiet, something shifted. Not because something happened, but because something didn't stop. That moment passed. The night went on. Life continued. But a line had been blurred, and I pretended not to notice. A few weeks later, it happened again. Different place. Same silence. Nothing dramatic. Nothing that would leave proof or evidence. Just that same unspoken moment where I knew. And chose not to say anything. What scares me now isn't what he did. It's that I let my silence become permission. We didn't talk about it. We never acknowledged it. And somehow, that made it easier. Easier to pretend it wasn't real. Easier to act like it existed in a separate world. One that didn't touch my relationship, my future, my sense of self. I told myself, it doesn't mean anything, but meaning has a way of growing when ignored. Time didn't fix it. Time normalized it. Years went by. Life happened. I grew up. I built a life. And every now and then, in moments when no one was watching, that unspoken thing would quietly exist again. Never discussed, never planned. Just assumed. That's the word that haunts me the most. Assumed. No promises. No declarations. No emotions spoken aloud. And yet, something was being shared. A secret that belonged to two people who never named it. I never crossed certain lines. And I clung to that fact like a shield. As long as there was a boundary, I told myself, I could pretend this wasn't betrayal. But boundaries don't erase intention. They just disguise it. Here's the part that's hardest to say. Sometimes, I didn't just allow it. Sometimes, I expected it. There were moments when nothing happened, and I felt something close to disappointment. That realization hit me years later. Quietly, late at night, when I couldn't distract myself anymore. What kind of person feels that way? What does that say about me? I wasn't seeking another relationship. I wasn't unhappy in my marriage in a way I could explain. So why did this exist? The answer I've come closest to isn't flattering. Because being wanted, even in silence, can feel powerful. And power can be addictive. What makes this harder is that we were never close. We didn't text. We didn't confide. We didn't share dreams or pain. There was no emotional intimacy to justify anything. Which means this wasn't about connection. It was about escape. A place where I wasn't a wife, wasn't responsible, wasn't accountable, just someone reacting instead of deciding. And that scares me more than passion ever could. As the years passed, we saw each other less. Life created distance where morality never did. I almost believed it was over. Until one moment reminded me that some habits don't need maintenance. A glance, a pause, a familiar silence. And just like that, it was still there. Not stronger, not weaker, unchanged. That's when the weight of it finally settled on me. Not because something new happened, but because something old never ended.